The first thing Sergeant Cole Ryder noticed was the silence. Not normal silence. Not the kind that comes after battle. This was deeper.
Wrong.
It felt like the planet itself had stopped breathing. Verarak, 5 lay beneath a pale white sky, its cities reduced to skeletons of broken steel and dust. No wind. No movement. No life. And yet, Cole tightened his grip on his rifle. Something here was still alive. He stepped forward slowly, boots crunching against gray debris. Every instinct in his body screamed caution. He had walked through war zones before. He had seen destruction. But this place? This wasn't destruction. This was abandonment. 6 months since the war ended, and no relief ships had come. Not one. The commanders called it low priority. Cole called it something else. A death sentence. He moved deeper into the ruins, scanning every shadow. Then, a sound.
Small.
Barely there. Like something being unwrapped. Or eaten. Cole froze. His eyes shifted toward a half-collapsed warehouse. One of its heavy iron doors hung slightly open. Just enough for something small to slip through.
He didn't call out. Didn't rush.
He moved like a soldier trained to expect danger in every corner. Step by step. Quiet. Controlled.
Alive.
The door creaked softly as he pushed it open. And then, he stopped breathing. Inside the broken warehouse were children. Alien children. 12 of them. Small bodies sat across the dusty floor. Gray-blue skin. Thin limbs. Large ears. Eyes too big, too tired. Too old. They stared at him. Every single one of them. No fear. No panic. Just quiet watching. Like they had already seen everything there was to fear. Cole slowly lowered his weapon. Then reached into his bag. He pulled out a ration pack and held it forward with both hands. An offering. A signal. I'm not here to hurt you. For a long moment nothing happened. Then, one child stood. A girl. Small. Barefoot. Wearing a torn gray dress. She walked toward him without hesitation. Her eyes studied his face, not scared, judging, like she was deciding something important. Then she took the ration pack. Cole waited, expected her to tear it open.
To eat.
To survive. But she didn't. She turned, walked back, and handed it to someone else. A smaller child. Weaker. Hungrier. Cole blinked. His mind struggled to catch up with what he had just seen. The girl stepped back, empty-handed.
Calm.
Silent. Satisfied. Like that was the only thing that mattered. Cole slowly reached for his translator. His fingers weren't steady. He typed carefully. How long have you been here alone? The device beeped. Translated.
The girl looked at it.
Then back at him. And answered. The translator processed her words. Cole read the screen. And something inside him went cold. That night, he didn't sleep. He sat outside his small camp, staring at the warehouse in the distance. 12 children inside. No parents. No help. No system records. Nothing. Just forgotten. The next morning, he came back. This time with more food. 4 ration packs. Everything he could carry without raising suspicion. He entered slowly. The children were already awake. Sitting in the same positions. Waiting. The girl stepped forward again. No smile. No greeting. Just watching. Cole placed the food on the ground. Stepped back. And waited. She moved immediately. Efficient. Precise. She handed out the rations one by one. Smallest first. Weakest next. Then the others. She moved like someone who had done this many times before. Because she had. When the last child had food, she stopped.
Sat down.
Empty-handed. And watched the others eat. Cole felt something twist in his chest. He reached into his jacket, pulled out his emergency ration bar, walked over, and held it out to her.
She didn't take it.
Not at first. She turned, looked at every child, checked their hands, their food, their safety. Only when she was certain did she accept it. She ate slowly, carefully, like every bite mattered, like she was trying to make it last forever. Cole sat across from her, pulled out the translator again, typed one question. Simple. but heavy. Why do you give your food away first? She chewed, swallowed, looked at him, silent for a moment, not confused, not unsure, just deciding. Then she answered. The translator beeped. Cole looked down, read the words, and froze. I have been full before. They have not. 7 words. That was all. No emotion. No drama. Just truth. Cole stared at the screen. In 12 years of war, he had heard speeches, orders, promises,
Lies.
but nothing had ever hit him like that. He looked up at her again. Really looked. Not as a soldier. Not as a survivor. But as something else. Something he didn't understand yet. Because this wasn't weakness. This wasn't survival. This was something different. Something no battlefield had ever taught him. And for the first time, Sergeant Cole Ryder realized something that would change everything. These children weren't just surviving. They were choosing who gets to live. He slowly reached for his radio. Hands no longer steady. Heart no longer quiet. Because now he understood one thing clearly. If he walked away, they would disappear. Like they never existed. And as the signal crackled to life, a voice came through.
Cold.
Official. Unbothered. Ryder, those children are not in any system. A pause. Then, they do not exist. Cole's grip tightened. His jaw locked. His eyes drifted back to the warehouse, where 12 silent children sat in the dust, waiting. And, in that moment, he made a decision that would put him against his own command, his own people, and possibly end his entire career. Because for the first time in his life, Sergeant Cole Ryder wasn't following orders. He was choosing humanity. Cole didn't move for a long time after the radio went silent. They do not exist. The words echoed in his head like a sentence already passed. Not missing. Not lost. Not waiting for help.
Erased.
He clipped the radio back onto his belt slowly, then turned, walked back inside the warehouse. The children looked up the moment he entered. 12 pairs of eyes. Quiet. Watching. Waiting. The girl in the torn gray dress stood where she always did. Center of the group. Not the oldest. Not the strongest. But somehow the one holding everything together. Cole crouched down this time. Lower. Closer to their level. He placed the last ration pack on the ground. But he didn't step back.
Not this time.
I'm not leaving, he said softly. The translator echoed his words in their language. The children didn't react much. But the girl's ears shifted slightly forward. She understood. That night, Cole didn't return to base. He stayed. Inside the broken warehouse. Back against the cold wall. Rifle across his lap. Eyes open. He listened. Not for enemies. Not for danger. But for something he hadn't heard on this planet yet. Breathing. 12 small, uneven breaths.
Some weak. Some shallow.
But still there. Morning came without light. Just a dull gray sky leaking through the broken roof.
Cole stood.
Checked his remaining supplies. It wasn't enough. Not even close. So he made a calculation.
Cold. Precise.
Soldier logic. One man could survive on less. 12 children could not. That was the moment everything changed. From that day on, Cole stopped eating full meals. He took only what his body absolutely needed. The rest, he carried to the warehouse. Day 1 passed. Then day 2. Then 3. The children began to move more. Not much, but enough to notice.
They sat closer together now.
Shared space. Shared warmth. And something else. Something strange. They weren't all the same species. Cole saw it clearly now. Different skin tones. Different features. Different origins. Enemies. At least they used to be. Their people had fought each other in the war. Killed each other. Hated each other. But here, none of that mattered. A smaller child with green-tinted skin leaned against another with pale gray arms. A third gently passed food across the group, without hesitation. No fear. No hesitation. No division. Cole watched it happen. Day after day. And then it hit him. Humans fought wars over differences. Over lines. Over history. over pride. But these children, they had lost everything, and somehow kept the one thing most species forgot: each other. On the fifth day, Cole almost collapsed. His hands shook as he entered the warehouse. His vision blurred slightly at the edges. The girl noticed immediately.
Of course she did.
She always noticed everything. She stood, walked toward him, slower this time, more careful. Then she reached into her torn pocket, pulled something out. A tiny piece of dried food. Barely anything. She held it out to him. Both hands. Cole stared at it. Then at her. This was all she had saved. For herself. And she was giving it to him. His throat tightened. Hard. For a second, he almost refused. Instinct.
Guilt. Pride.
But something stopped him. Something deeper. He remembered the way she gave food to others. Without hesitation. Without questioning it. So he reached out. And took it. Because refusing her would mean rejecting what she believed in. He ate it slowly. Just like she did. And for the first time, Cole understood something that no training had ever taught him. Strength wasn't always taking. Sometimes, it was accepting. The problem came on day 7. "Hey, Sarge." Cole didn't look up. Private Yates leaned against the doorway of the supply tent. Arms crossed. Eyes sharp. "You been taking extra rations?" Cole kept packing his bag. "Equipment check." Yates didn't smile. Didn't move. "That's funny," he said. "Because equipment doesn't usually eat." Silence stretched. Heavy. Cole zipped the bag. Stood. "You got a report to file, soldier?" Yates hesitated. Just for a second. Then shook his head. "Not yet." That "yet" hung in the air. Like a warning. By day 8, the warning came. A folded paper. Official stamp. Short message. Unauthorized removal of military supplies. Further violation will be escalated. Cole read it once. Folded it neatly. Slipped it into his pocket. Then picked up his bag. And walked straight back to the warehouse. Because some decisions don't get undone by paper. That afternoon, something changed. The girl met him at the door. Before he even stepped inside, she looked at him differently. More focused. More certain. Then she did something new. She stepped closer. Reached into her pocket again. But this time, she didn't pull out food. She placed her small hand on his. Just for a second. A silent message. She knew. Not everything.
But enough.
Enough to understand that he was giving something up.
For them. Cole didn't move. Didn't speak.
But inside, something shifted. Because in all his years, no medal, no rank, no command had ever felt like that. That night, everything collapsed. Cole was called to the review room. 4 walls.
Cold lights.
3 officers behind a table. Commander Harlan in the center. Face unreadable. Sergeant Ryder.
His voice was calm. Too calm.
"You've been diverting military rations for 11 days. Cole stood straight. "Yes, sir." "And you understand that is a violation of protocol?" "Yes, sir." "Then explain." Cole opened his mouth, and the door opened behind him. No knock. No warning. Just silence. Heavy. Immediate. Cole turned. Slowly. And his heart stopped. The girl stood in the doorway. Barefoot. Still. Behind her, 11 children. They walked in quietly. Together. Different species. Different pasts. One group. No fear. No hesitation. They stopped behind Cole. The entire room froze. Even Commander Harlan. The girl stepped forward. Alone. She walked across the cold floor. Past soldiers. Past authority. Past fear. Until she stood in front of the table. She looked up at Harlan. Studied him. The way she studied everyone. Then, she reached into her pocket. Pulled out a small piece of dried food. And held it out to him. The only thing she had. Offering it to the man who could take everything away. The room didn't breathe. No one moved. And for the first time, the strongest people in that room didn't feel powerful. They felt small. Harlan stared at the food, at her hands, at the meaning behind it. Then slowly, he reached out and took it. His jaw tightened. His eyes shifted. Something cracked. Not loudly, but enough. And just as he opened his mouth to speak, his radio went off. Sharp, urgent, unforgiving. He listened, said nothing, then lowered it, looked at Cole, and spoke two quiet words. High command.
A pause.
Heavy. Final. They're sending a retrieval unit. Cole's blood ran cold, because he knew exactly what that meant. Not rescue. Not help. Removal.
Permanent.
And this time, no one would be able to stop it. The transport arrived before sunrise. No lights. No warning. No mercy. Just the low roar of engines cutting through dead air and 8 shadows stepping onto the gray surface of Verarak. 5. Sergeant Cole Ryder was already waiting. He hadn't slept, hadn't eaten, hadn't moved from his spot outside the warehouse. Because he knew this was the moment everything would be decided. The unit approached in a straight line. Perfect formation. Weapons ready. Emotionless. At the front stood their leader, Captain Voss. Cold eyes. Controlled breath. The kind of soldier who stopped asking why a long time ago. Sergeant Ryder, she said flatly. Step aside.
Cole didn't move.
Didn't reach for his weapon. Didn't raise his voice. I have something for you first, he said calmly. He held out a thin folder. Voss didn't take it immediately. She studied him, looking for weakness, for hesitation, for fear. She found none. So she took the folder, opened it. Silence fell. Heavy. Her eyes moved across the first page. Then the second. Then they slowed. She flipped to the final section. Read it again. A legal clause. Old. Forgotten. Ignored for years. But still valid. Cole spoke quietly.
Steady. Precise.
12 children. Officially sponsored under conflict protection law. Filed. Approved. Distributed across 4 databases. Voss looked up. Her expression didn't change, but something behind her eyes shifted. This is a delay tactic. It's the law. High command will overturn it. They're welcome to try, Cole replied. A small pause. Then, it'll take about 14 weeks. The soldiers behind her shifted slightly, uneasy, because they all understood what that meant. This wasn't removal anymore. This was time. Protection. A barrier. And breaking it wouldn't be quiet. Then, the warehouse door creaked open. Everyone turned. The girl stood there, barefoot, silent, watching. Behind her, the others. 12 children. No fear. No panic. Just presence. One of the soldiers looked away. Another adjusted his stance, because something about them was harder to face than any enemy. Voss closed the folder. Slowly. She looked at Cole, then at the children, then back again. And for a brief moment, the mission disappeared, and a choice remained. Her hand tightened slightly, then loosened. She pushed the folder back into Cole's chest.
This isn't over, she said.
I know.
A pause.
Then, she turned. Unit fall back. No argument. No hesitation. 8 soldiers turned and walked away. Their boots echoed across the empty ground. The transport lifted, disappeared into the white sky. And just like that, the threat was gone.
For now.
Cole stood still, breathing slow, controlled. Then, his legs weakened. Just for a second. Not from fear. From release. He turned back. The girl was still watching him. She had seen everything. Understood more than she should. But this time, she didn't step forward. She simply nodded.
Small. Quiet.
Like she knew. The fight wasn't finished yet. It wasn't. Because later that morning, the message came.
Direct.
From high command. 3 sentences. That was all. A past mission. 7 years ago. 2 soldiers lost. 1 decision. That looked very bad on paper. And now, they were using it. Stand down or face full review. Cole read it once. Then again.
His jaw tightened.
They weren't attacking the children anymore. They were attacking him. Because if he broke, everything else would follow. He looked up. The children sat inside the warehouse.
Closer together now.
Safer. but still fragile. The girl met his gaze. She didn't ask anything.
Didn't need to.
Cole slowly turned off his radio, placed it on the ground, face down. Decision made. 3 days later, everything changed. Not because of orders. Not because of command. Because of a video. Someone had recorded it. Quietly. Without interference. The girl sharing food. Checking on others. Giving away her last piece. Offering it to a man in uniform. No music. No edits. No narration. Just truth. It spread.
Fast.
Millions watched. Then millions more. Not for entertainment. Not for curiosity. But because something in it felt real. Comments flooded every network. She's just a child. And she's stronger than all of us. How did we leave them there? Who decided they didn't exist? The question echoed.
Loud.
Unavoidable. High Command released Cole's past record that same day. It vanished. Not erased. Not hidden.
Ignored.
Because no one cared about old mistakes when faced with something undeniable. Humanity. Within 48 hours, relief ships arrived. Real ones.
Food.
Medicine. Shelter. People who actually came to help. And for the first time since the war, Verac 5 wasn't silent anymore. Cole's hearing lasted 40 minutes. No charges. No punishment. No apology. Just a door opening. And a man walking out. Still a soldier.
But something more now.
He went back to the children. Except, it wasn't a warehouse anymore. It was a shelter. Warm lights. Clean floors. Real beds.
And food.
So much food.
Cole stood in the doorway.
Watching. All 12 children sat at a table.
Eating.
Not rushing. Not fighting. Not afraid. Just eating. He found her near the window. The girl. She had a full plate in front of her. And, for the first time, she didn't look around. Didn't check others first. Didn't wait. She just
ate.
Slowly. Calmly. Like she finally believed there would be more tomorrow. She looked up. Saw him. Studied his face. Then spoke softly. The translator beeped. Cole looked down. Read the words. I am full now. A pause. Is that okay? Cole felt his throat tighten.
Hard.
He looked up at her. And for once, he didn't hide it. That's more than okay, he said quietly. A breath. That's everything. She held his gaze for a moment, then nodded, and went back to eating. Simple. Quiet.
Safe.
Sergeant Cole Ryder never became famous. No medals. No speeches. No history books. Just a soldier who refused to let 12 children disappear. And somewhere on a once dead planet, a small alien girl who once starved herself for others, ate first. Every single day. Not because she forgot hunger, but because she finally understood. She deserved to be full too. And that was something the entire galaxy had to learn from a human.